Welcome to Melanie's Mississippi. I'm Melanie Christopher, and I have the opportunity, at least once a week, to bring in someone who really can tell us more about Mississippi and is truly just ingrained in this state. And you probably know him. He is a renowned watercolorist, Wyatt Waters. And Wyatt, thank you for being with me. We've
Thanks
been
for
friends a
having me.
long time,
Yes.
when the early days of both of us.
Yes, you haven't aged a bit. And,
No, you haven't either.
Gone right along there.
This is such a treat for me. Let me ask you this though. I love this. I just want to start with this story because it's so nice and it's so sweet. How you got started was
Oh, yeah.
really your mama.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
For
Yeah.
people that don't know, tell us how it happened.
Okay. I was two and a half years old. We moved to Florence, Mississippi, and they gave us a house to live in. They gave coaches a house to live in. I'm sure they didn't give English teachers a house to live in. But anyway, they gave us a house to live in as part of the sweetener to the deal. And there were holes in the kitchen floor. And I remember her crying, and, that was really upsetting to her. And I can remember this. And she flattened orange juice cans, which were made out of metal at the time, and tacked them to the holes in the floor. And then she painted the floor. But you could still see the repair. So to disguise the repair, she had me, and my older brother Jim, she had us to spatter paint the floor. And I think that was because there was just so much floor.
But this is way before that
Oh, yeah.
ever. I mean, that's where your at least half of your talent comes
Faux
from.
linoleum is what it was, And that's how Jackson Pollock painted. That's how I began painting. And then someone taught me kindergarten, and she was pregnant with my little brother. She just told me this recently. I thought I started art lessons in the first grade, but I wasn't even in school. And I said, "What made you give me art lessons in the first grade?" She said, "Oh, you weren't even in school." She said, "I was pregnant with, your little brother." And so she gave me art lessons because I needed a babysitter. And the lady taught me. And my father believed in education. So I say my dad believed in education. My mom believed in babysitters. But the effect was I got art lessons.
And you got educated.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I mean, I really did.
I love that. Well, and talk about educating. You really now have totally transformed into this touring watercolorist.
Well, I like my wife is a very strategic kind of person. And about 3-4 years ago, she said, "What do you want to do with yourself? Where would you like to go?" She's worked in advertising, and she knows how to put things together and oversee projects. And I said, "Well, I would like to do more teaching." So, and around that same time, this guy called me from France, a guy named Miles Copeland. Miles Copeland had a record company called IRS Records in the 80s. He handled REM, the Police, the Go-Go's. And he asked if I would teach a workshop there. And I thought it was, some people said, "Oh, that's not really him," but it was him. And I still don't know how he got in touch with me. His dad was a famous CIA agent. His record company was the IRS, a record company. And his brother was Stuart Copeland, who was the drummer for the Police, who he handled. And his other brother had a booking agency called the FBI. So I don't really know how he found me. He wouldn't tell me. He's a very mysterious guy.
Oh my goodness.
And that got us going to France. I'd spent a lot of time in Italy, and I thought, well, this is a chance to do another country. So I started working on that, and we're going back to do 2 workshops this summer, in fact.
So what was the difference between France and Italy?
Well, in Italy, they speak Italian. France,
I deserve that.
Anyway,
Okay.
no, I'm kidding. I don't know. I'll say this: Europe is just a fascinating place. You can just go from country to country. It's like going to Alabama or something.
Easily.
Yeah,
Mhm.
very easily. And it's just an old culture. A lot of my painting experience came from studying the Impressionist painters, which were mainly, in France at the time. So
Yeah.
that had a lot to do with me wanting to do that. And while we were there, we traveled around a couple of months and we've been 3 summers now, and this fall we're putting together a book of France. So
Oh,
we have 2 books this year.
yeah.
Uh, the French book and the book on Natchez,
I
which will be coming out this spring.
Before I get to the Natchez, because I could talk forever about Natchez, I love it. But in in the travels, the people that will be going to take these workshops, are they from the United
hmm
States?
They are, and they're from all over. Got a lot of Texans, Tennessee, mainly the Southeast, but we're getting more and more attention outside of state. Our website, that's WyattWaters.com. Our website has we kicked that in. I've had a website for a long time, but when the pandemic hit, my wife put some attention to that, and we probably sell more stuff on the website yeah, we sell more out of state than we do in state.
Wow.
It's just a vehicle that gets you out there.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
a fun thing to wake up in the morning and see somebody from Connecticut, bought a book or a painting or a print or something,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So these that will go with you on this trip, is there a limit to how many that you take? And are you really teaching them from the very beginning, or do they already have some experience?
I like to get some people who have some experience. And so we're teaching a lot of workshops also here in Mississippi and the Southeast. We've done workshops in Arkansas and Louisiana, Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia,
Staying to your roots.
around in the Southeast. I like for people to have some experience painting before we go there because it just makes it more efficient for them, to not have to start from square one.
So when they go, you have a place for them to stay. It's all included, and the food and all. Do you take them on like little tours too
hmm
while you're there?
We scouted out several locations. I'm butchering the language. We're in the Dorne region, southwestern France. I'm probably saying that wrong. Um, but we stay in a castle. It's an honest to gosh real castle. I mean, Cher had just stayed there right before we were there, and Carole
Ooh,
King. Yeah, he
uh,
has a lot of music connections, so he has workshops out there. And in fact, I'm kind of an amateur songwriter, and
I
I
know. I was going to say, don't you
well,
you
I,
sing and play?
I do a little bit, and I tied in a songwriting contest up in Tupelo with a guy named Paul Thorne, and Paul, I hadn't really stayed in touch with him much, but he told me about this guy. Was going to fly him to France to talk to him about signing his label, and I thought that's how the connection was. And I said, Paul probably told you about me, Miles. He said, No, 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 that's not how I found you. And I asked him 5 or 6 times. He never would tell me. So, but it's a real castle. It's got a moat and everything. It's and the region there is just beautiful. They're little villages, and it's just
Picturesque.
charming as heck. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it really is.
And it does make you, when you're there to paint, that you take a part of that
Yeah,
with you back.
yeah. And another
Maybe that's
weird.
not quite.
No, that's pretty good. Yeah, I bring ideas home. That's what I like to
Okay,
bring.
okay.
We just got back from a cruise, and I brought some vanilla back with me. I always bring something back. It's usually not something I can hold like vanilla.
Was it a Mexican cruise?
Yeah, it was a lot of
Because
fun.
that vanilla is, you can only buy that.
Got a couple of bottles of that, and I thought, well, we'll
I
do
know,
it.
we won't
But I
talk.
usually bring back ideas, and that is exactly right. But we just happened to have been approached by a client to help brand a wine called Waters to Wine. It's a Cabernet, and it happened to be produced in the same region where we were staying. And those are all coincidental things. So go to your local spirits shop and
What's it called? Water to wine?
Waters, my name, to wine,
Waters to wine. I love that.
which was,
So
Jesus' first miracle,
you
wedding in Cana.
and you did the label
Yeah.
for this. What does it look like?
Well, it's a vertical piece of a wine. It's grapevines and the
Okay.
landscape, and it's just a very French kind of painting.
Oh, that is wonderful. Well, I've noticed that it seems in the last, maybe even in this last year, a lot of people are giving watercolor
Yeah.
classes. So watercolor has become like the medium that people want, it
It's
seems.
yeah, well, it doesn't have solvents. It's very portable. It's the first thing. I mean, people sometimes they'll describe it as a master's medium, and it's got its difficulties. But I mean, it's truly the first thing you paint in when you're in school or in kindergarten. You paint in watercolor.
Uh-huh.
So it lends itself to travel, and that's what I do. I paint on location, and we're going back, like I say, this summer for two more classes and spend a little bit more time painting there. This time we're not on assignment. We were working on this book before, so we had to stay within the boundaries of France. But I'm sure we'll wander back and forth all over.
You'll venture out a little further.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Natchez.
Yeah.
Now,
Natchez.
always been one of your favorite places?
It has been. My father's side of the family goes back to the 1700s, a place called Kingston, which are the Jersey settlers, which are some of the original settlers of Natchez.
Wow.
And my father and I would go down there, and it was kind of a family thing. And I got married, 7 years ago, and just about. And we, when you get married at this age, you kind of figure out, okay, here's your life, here's my life. Okay, we can get married here. There's an opening, And we kind of did the honeymoon the same way. Where can we go that's far away but close? And Natchez fit the bill. So we went down there for our honeymoon, and we kept going back. And we kept going back because we work a lot on the weekends, and we would have a Tuesday and Wednesday weekend. Had some time off then, and we would go to Natchez. And then I could see her little gears turning. There's a big tourist market there. They have the ships that go up and down the river, the number of travelers they have there. Plus, it's just a fun place. So we opened a gallery about a year ago, and a lot of the paintings I've just been doing as part of what I do became material for this book. And I think we've got about 80 paintings that we've culled it down to. And they will be in the book, The Watercolor Road, Natchez.
And this is just kind of a mock-up now.
This is
it's got some pictures, but
printout.
Yeah.
It's not the book. The book will be here later in the spring.
Well, my colleague, Walt Grayson, does, Natchez like no one else. He can do a cemetery.
Oh, man.
And you just want to go drive down there.
It's the best cemetery. It is.
It truly is.
Yeah.
It is. And so I just love Natchez, and I do think it is very colorful. And the people are very, again, kind of a unique, like a Delta.
Yeah.
The
eccentric kind of.
Yes.
Nicely eccentric.
Yes, nicely eccentric, and I love it. And that mayor, I think he's
Dan.
Oh my gosh, he's doing a great job.
He's part of how we saw him cutting a ribbon somewhere, and they were going to check on the wine at a wine shop there, which is called, by the way, Hallelujah, which I thought was pretty good for Waters to Wine. Anyway, and Chesney Doyle was there, and we mentioned to her that we were thinking about opening a gallery there, and she said, "I've got a property for you." So, but Dan does put the pieces together. He's
does.
Really quite a good mayor.
He really is. So, what? Now you were doing a lot of food tours there with.
We still eat.
Robert St. John. You were doing a lot of that. Did that kind of spark the travel part?
Well, years ago, really, the first time I ever flew was, golly, it was over 30 years ago. I was teaching night classes at Mississippi College. I was what they call you an adjunct, but I call myself a junk professor because I knew I was never going to get
I wish I
tenure.
had known that. Yeah.
Well, I was teaching night classes. You get some weird people in night classes. And Dr. Gore kind of threw a bone making sure I was eating. And I was teaching those night classes. And there was a guy in there, a man, Jack Flood. And he was a physician at State Hospital. And we didn't talk about their professional life, personal life or anything. They just came up there to paint, and I let them paint. And I worked with them. And then he called me, and he said, "Hey, Wyatt, I've got something I'd like to give you. I'd like to give you a trip to Paris for 2 weeks. So I got all expenses paid trip to Paris for 2 weeks. I'd never flown before, so it was a dramatic thing for me to experience
But he
France.
wanted to do that for you because he
Yes.
knew you needed to see that.
He and Ani, his wife, they're both passed away now, but I remember asking him why he did this. I mean, because I'll be honest, I was thinking, what does he want? What's going on here? What's the deal? And
How big a canvas do I have to paint?
yeah, and he said, well, I got to know him pretty well. He's a really spiritual guy. And I said, he said, well, I did it because I thought it would be good for you, and I knew you couldn't do it, and I could do it, which was, I mean, the France thing was great, the trip, don't get me wrong, but the bigger thing was that it made me believe I could do more than I had thought I could do. And everybody can. Believing yourself is hard to get. And that was the most important thing. That came from my trip to France. So, we just got back from Paris last summer, and I was going to all these places that I'd seen years before. That was a gift. That was just a gift.
Did
someone
he
gave
know
to me.
that? Did you tell him what it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, he was a student of the artist Marie Hull, and she had told him that when he came into some means to support the arts, he was in high school, and it just so happens my teacher was taught by Marie Hull, and I was at a show when I was in college, and I saw her at this Artist 5 show in the Quarter, and I went up to her and said, hello. I said, my name's Wyatt Waters. You don't know me, but you taught Rose Taylor in Florence, Mississippi, who taught me, and I just wanted to meet you and say thank you or something like that. And she sat me down and gave me like 45-minute talk about things to do with my life. Anyway, she told him to give back to the arts. And she told me that I needed to go and have the European Museum experience, which was, I was able to tell him that. I mean, it was a real connection of dots,
Yes.
That was just one of those things that just happened.
Well, maybe the art world. I mean, that is the connection.
Well, it makes you believe in something bigger than yourself again. But Europe is just old, and they've learned a lot of things. And so much of America's ideas came from, Benjamin Franklin going over there
Certainly,
during the
yes.
Enlightenment and stuff like that.
Yes.
So it's great to be over there.
Well, let's get back to Natchez just a
Mhm.
little bit more. When will the book come out?
It will be out this spring.
Okay.
Later this spring. It'll be going to press in about another week.
All right.
We're just about done with this. When I say we are just about done, I've been done with this book for a while.
But
my wife is
She's
editing
doing
this.
she's doing the final
And scans and
yeah,
color work and
edit,
you know.
on that.
So look for
It's
Watercolor
just-
Road,
yes.
Natchez.
And your gallery is located where down there?
We're in the very center of Natchez on Commerce and Main.
Okay.
So you really can't miss us. If you go to a restaurant called Frankie's, hey Kathy, they're catty corner us.
Okay.
You know what catty corner is.
I
it's,
sure did.
And
And I
it's-
know Frankie's, yeah.
It's a fun place. We have a little
Um,
apartment above, so we're down there about. I tell people we're there half the time, and Clinton half the time, and traveling half the time. That's 3 halves.
Well, math might not have been your
It's certainly not my thing.
forte.
No.
Why? All right. In everyday things, do you see art in everyday things, like
Yeah.
the ice storm we had, or the whatever, the change of seasons and all of that?
It's it's just the way I've always dealt with the world. I mean, if I don't feel good, if I'm depressed, I paint. If I feel great, I paint. If I'm bored, I paint. So that's about it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the full gamut of human emotion. So, but it's like, I'm a big Beatle fan. And they were asking George Harrison, what's it like being a Beatle? I said, I don't know. I said, I've always been a Beatle, and I don't know what it would be like to not paint. I got into books because I fell on a nail a long time ago. This is how I got my first book, Another Coat of Paint. And the nail went in here and it came out here.
Were you making frames?
I was getting ready for my 18th show at a gallery. I was. And I went in the hospital, it turned into a bad infection. I was in the hospital at St. Dominic's over a week. And Chris Etheridge worked on my hand. And he talked to me a couple of times about right there, about the infection was just taking over. So they finally let it heal from the inside out. They cut it open like they would have done in the Civil War. Well,
And you're right-handed.
right, and I couldn't paint for a while, so I took paintings that I'd already done. My college roommate, Carl McIntyre, his father's Carl McIntyre, was the Sunday editor of the paper. My college roommate, that was his father. And Mr. Mac, he smoked. He said, "You need to do a book on these paintings, Wyatt." But I was never going to do that. And then suddenly I couldn't paint. And so that's how I got into books. It wasn't a real strategic thing. It was like, making
You had to
some
have a
lemonade.
living. Yeah, exactly.
So that's how I got into that and sold it to, worked with James Patterson. Thank you, James. I miss James. He's gone. And we sold it to Quail Ridge Press. And we
People love the books.
it was good for me. It was good for me to have that to make a living during time I couldn't make a living.
Mm-hmm. And the calendars. Your calendars are very, very popular.
That kind of came from books. I was going to Neblett's to get some glass cut because I don't cut glass, and so somebody in there was cutting up a book, and I said, "Okay, what's going on?" Oh, we're framing the pages, and so
Was it your book?
It was my book, yeah.
Oh.
And I thought, well, that's it's kind of like book burning or something. It's okay, you can do what you want to, but I thought, well, what might be better is if we get a calendar, and I made it on very good quality paper. And I made it the size that could fit a 16 by 20 frame with a 3-inch mat, so people could once a year, instead of paying $2,000 or $3,000 for a painting, they can get a calendar and frame it.
Right, and they do. I've
And
bought many of your for gifts, particularly
Thanks.
because I have friends that that's what I give them at Christmas when I hunt you down.
That's
At the-
that's important. I mean,
That it is,
not
and they
everybody
love
can
them.
afford that, and I appreciate the support that people give to me through the calendar because I just put my 13 favorite paintings in there every year.
And they're
That's what it
beautiful.
is.
They're beautiful. Will any have natches, you think,
Well,
this next time?
not this next time. The book will be probably plenty for right now,
Mhm.
but I'm sure something is in the works. In the Natchez Gallery, we have a lot of prints and we have a lot of products that we produce as well. We added a second story onto the gallery in Clinton about a year and a half ago. And upstairs, I don't paint there. Upstairs, we produce wine stoppers, tote bags, wine bags, coffee mugs, T-shirts, magnets. I mean, we got
I'm so glad to know that.
range of things that we produce
Yes.
product-wise. And we have a small wholesale with products too.
Yes, yes. Oh, that is so good. All right, it's WyattWaters.com. Can
That's
they see
WyattWaters.com.
all that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, all right.
It's a pretty well populated website. It's I don't handle that. My wife handles the organization of this. Thank you, Christy. If you're watching
Thank you,
this,
Christy.
I
Yes,
appreciate you,
yes,
babe.
yes.
And,
Yeah, she's done a lot.
she does.
Yes,
She's
yes. Well,
cleaned
she's
me
the
up.
other side. I mean,
Mhm.
you're the painter.
Yes, but she makes sure like I'm here today.
Mhm.
She makes sure I'm here and I'm not. I'm out painting. I forgot. That could be me without her.
That's right. You need her, and she needs
Yeah.
you. So that's wonderful. It's a wonderful arrangement.
Thank you, Melanie.
All right. Thank you. And thank you for being with me and talking and Natchez and the whole thing. I can't wait for that. Love that city. All right. That'll do it for us right now. We thank you so much for joining us for the conversation with Wyatt Waters. He is available, or his work is available at WyattWaters.com. You can go to Clinton and view the gallery there, and they're now open to gallery in Natchez. So you can make it a real good trip and hit both of those. Thanks for being with us. Until next time, I'm Melanie Christopher.